Most people who find this channel are already trying. They have made changes, cut things out, built routines they are truly proud of, and somewhere between the effort and the results, there is a gap they can't explain. Here's what no one says out loud. The habits that are hardest to question are not the bad ones. You already know those. The habits that are hardest to question are the ones that seem like progress because they deliver enough for you to keep going, while silently working against everything else you are trying to build. They don't show up as failures. They show up as plateaus, like that slight feeling that something is a little off, even when everything looks right on paper. This is not a discipline problem. It's not genetics. It's not age. This is information, and that is exactly what this video is. In this video, we will look at 10 of these habits, not the obvious ones, the ones that live inside routines that look healthy on the outside and cost dearly on the inside. Some of these you have already heard about. What you haven't heard is why they really work against you, explained in a way that makes it impossible not to notice. Once you understand the mechanism, the habit changes on its own. Let's start with the one hidden inside something you do every day and that most people will defend until they understand what it is really doing to their bodies. People who find this kind of content don't do so by chance. If you are here, you already know that most health information only scratches the surface. Subscribe, because this is exactly where this channel begins. Mistake 1, the glass of water that is washing away your nutrition. You sit down for a meal you actually prepared. Good ingredients, real effort. You pour a glass of water and drink it while eating because that's what healthy people do. Here's what's happening behind that. The water dilutes the hydrochloric acid your stomach uses to digest food. When the acid concentration drops in the middle of digestion, proteins don't break down completely. Minerals don't separate from their compounds, and your body absorbs only a fraction of what you just ate. You may be following a really good diet and still be functioning with nutritional deficiency, not because of what's on your plate, but because of what's in your glass while you eat. The change. Drink 400 milliliters of water 30 minutes before your meal. Nothing during. Nothing until 30 minutes after. 2 weeks of this and your energy levels will explain the rest. Mistake 2. The morning ritual that increases your stress. Before 9 a.m. you wake up, look at your phone, and make coffee. Maybe you scroll through your screen for a few minutes before the day starts. This sequence, blue light, caffeine, and incoming information, activates your stress response before your nervous system has finished its nightly reset. Cortisol naturally peaks 30 to 45 minutes after waking. Adding caffeine and screen stimulation at this peak doesn't energize you. It overexcites the system. You feel jittery for an hour, then mid-morning fatigue hits that most people attribute to a bad night's sleep. The change. Postpone your first coffee to 90 minutes after waking. Use this window for natural light or silence. You are not avoiding stimuli. You are letting your cortisol curve complete before adding fuel to it. The difference in sustained concentration throughout the day is not subtle. Mistake 3, the supplement graveyard on your kitchen counter. There is probably a small collection of supplement bottles somewhere in your house. Taken every morning because that's when you remember them. Vitamin D is fat-soluble. Without fat in the stomach, it passes almost entirely unused. Magnesium in the morning stimulates the nervous system, when its most valuable function is to calm you at night. Omega-3 taken with the wrong meal is absorbed at a fraction of its potential. Same supplements, wrong timing. The problem is not the bottles. The change. Vitamin D with your fattiest meal. Magnesium 30 minutes before bed. Give it 3 weeks, then decide if the supplements really work for you. Mistake 4. The 8 hours that actually don't recover anything. Slightly warm room, phone on the bedside table. The first 90 minutes of sleep contain the deepest and most physically restorative stage your body reaches throughout the night. And this stage is sensitive to exactly 2 things: room temperature and light exposure in the hour before sleeping. A room above 19 degrees Celsius prevents your core body temperature from dropping as needed to initiate deep sleep. Screen light delays melatonin production by up to 90 minutes, which means you can sleep a full 8 hours and wake up physically unrefreshed. Not because you didn't sleep enough, but because you never entered deep sleep. The change: cool the room. Turn off screens 45 minutes before sleeping. Protect this window of the first 90 minutes. You will feel the difference before the end of the week. If something in the last few minutes made you think, I've been doing this for years, please like this video. It helps reach people who need this. And the next mistakes are the ones that tend to surprise people the most. Mistake 5, the rest day that teaches your body to store instead of burn. Rest days are necessary. That is not the mistake. Going from a high-intensity workout to almost complete immobility triggers a metabolic shift in which your body interprets the drop in movement as a signal to slow down. It starts to conserve energy instead of burning it. The hormonal environment that your workout took days to build begins to dissolve. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. In a cycle, the change. On rest days, walk for 20 to 30 minutes at a pace where you can hold a conversation. That's it. This keeps your metabolism active, speeds up muscle repair, and maintains the internal environment that makes your next workout really worthwhile. Mistake 6. The healthy eating pattern that is silently inflaming you. Eating the same clean meals every day seems like discipline. In many ways, it is. But your gut microbiome is an ecosystem, and ecosystems need variety to remain resilient. Eating a limited range of foods, even healthy ones, repeatedly feeds the same bacterial colonies while leaving others hungry. Those who are being deprived are often responsible for regulating their inflammatory baseline, their stress response, and their mood stability. That is why some people eat perfectly and still feel inflamed, still feel anxious, still feel that something is slightly wrong. The change. Add a new vegetable, legume, or fermented food each week. Not a diet overhaul. One ingredient. In 3 months, that's 12 new elements for an ecosystem that will respond in ways that will be reflected in your energy, your skin, and your sleep even before you realize why. Mistake 7. The panel you are using to measure progress is lying. Weight on the scale, calories, kilometers logged. These numbers seem objective, and that is exactly what makes them dangerous. The scale doesn't know the difference between reduced inflammation and losing a kilo of fat. It just shows a number. And that number, taken without context, has ended more genuine progress than almost any bad habit. But here's the deeper problem. Most people are not just measuring the wrong things. They have stopped truly measuring themselves altogether. They outsource all feedback to apps, to numbers, to whatever the current consensus says is healthy. And by doing so, they lose access to the most accurate data source available, the body's own responses. The body recovers before shrinking. Inflammation decreases before weight. Energy returns before the mirror changes. The change. Track 3 things weekly in writing: energy levels, sleep quality, and digestion. In 60 days, patterns emerge that no algorithm can find for you. The scale becomes one data point among many, instead of the verdict. Mistake 8. Deep breathing that no one is doing. Literally, this seems too simple to be here. But it belongs here nonetheless. Most adults breathe 12 to 18 times per minute, shallowly and predominantly in the chest, keeping the nervous system in a light, yet chronic state of activation. It's not fight or flight, it's something quieter, a background tension that slightly raises cortisol, somewhat suppresses digestion, and makes genuine rest a bit harder to achieve. 5 minutes of slow diaphragmatic breathing, 6 breaths per minute, show measurable reductions in cortisol and inflammatory markers. It is one of the few tools with unlimited benefit and no cost. The change: 5 minutes once a day, inhale for 5 counts, exhale for 5 counts. Not like meditation, like a biological reset. The simplest thing on this list and the most consistently ignored. Which of these has lived in your routine without you realizing it? Leave the number in the comments. I read them all. 2 are missing, and number 10 is the one I wish someone had told me about much earlier. Mistake 9. The social environment that silently dominates every decision you make. You may have the perfect diet, the right supplements, the ideal sleep schedule, and the 5 people you spend the most time with will statistically predict your health outcomes more accurately than all of that. Not because of peer pressure, not consciously, but because human behavior is deeply contagious on a neurological level. Stress responses synchronize between people who spend time together. Eating patterns mirror each other. Sleep schedules adjust to those you are closest to. This is not motivation. This is biology. And it means that optimizing your habits in isolation without considering the environment in which those habits exist is like trying to heat a room with the window open. The change. You don't need to change your relationships. You need to make them conscious. Share one thing you are learning. Suggest a shared habit, a walk, a meal, an earlier bedtime. When your environment starts to move with you, consistency stops being a struggle and becomes a habit. Mistake 10. The story you tell yourself that makes every habit harder than it needs to be. This one is behind everything on this list. Most people see health as something they are trying to do, a project, a phase, something they work on when they have time and the right circumstances. And because it lives in that category, added on top of real life, it always competes with everything else. Motivation becomes the fuel, and motivation runs out. What research on lasting behavior change consistently shows is this. People who maintain healthy habits long term don't think of health as something they do. They think of it as something they are. It's not, I'm trying to sleep better. I am someone who protects my sleep. It's not, I'm working on eating well. That's just how I eat. This shift in language seems small. It's not. Identity based habits don't require motivation because they don't feel like effort. They feel like consistency with who you already are. Every time you act in alignment with that identity, even imperfectly, you reinforce something that gets easier over time, not harder. You don't need to earn that identity. You just need to decide it's already true and let your actions follow. This is the mistake no one talks about. It's not what you're eating, nor when you're sleeping, nor how you're moving, but the story you tell yourself about who does those things and whether that person is you. 10 habits. None of them dramatic. All quiet enough to go unnoticed for years. You don't need to fix all 10 at once. Choose the one that seemed most familiar, the one where something changed while you were listening, and start there. A real change, applied consistently, creates a chain reaction that affects everything else on this list. This is not motivation, it's simply how biology works. And that's what Infinity Health Daily is here for. The kind of information that really changes something explained in a way that respects your time and intelligence. If you want to put all of this into practice, not just understand it, but really apply it, I created a playlist that dives deeper into each of these areas. Sleep, nutrition timing, movement, stress, and the habits that connect them all. It's the natural next step of everything we've covered here, and it's on your screen right now. And if this video brought you something real, share it with more people. Because if someone you care about has been trying and not seeing results, this might be exactly what they needed. See you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this video until the end. If this content was valuable to you and helped you in any way, please consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming tips and information. And don't keep this to yourself. Share it with those you care about so that this chain of well-being grows even more. A big hug, and I wish you infinite health.